All right, let's talk to the Diddy. Ray Diddy joins us every single Monday at this time. It's a real pleasure to talk to the Diddy and get his insight after every Eagles game. And Ray is brought to us by Verizon. Phones were not made to be broken, but life happens. So when your phone breaks, Verizon's got you. Trade in any phone at your local Verizon store in any condition, guaranteed. You'll get a great deal on one of the best 5G phones with unlimited ultimate. The Diddy, a Hall of Famer, Mr. Ray Didinger. Ray Diddy, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, Joe. How are you?
Well, I'm good, Ray. There's some elements of yesterday's game I wish it had been different. I'm thrilled they get 9 in a row. I'm thrilled Saquon breaks the record. I'm thrilled they remain in the hunt for the 1 seed, and all that's great. By the way, they made the playoffs yesterday. That kind of went underreported, I'd say. But obviously, Jalen had some struggles, and then AJ's comments post-game I thought did not help the cause. What's your reaction to any element? What's top of mind for you from yesterday's victory?
I think you encapsulated it very well there. There was a lot to feel good about yesterday if you were an Eagles fan for all those reasons. Saquon Barkley sets the team record for rushing yards in a season. That's great. 9 in a row, tie the longest winning streak in club's history. That's great. Pretty much lock up your division, certainly lock up a playoff berth. I mean, all that stuff is really good.
Yeah.
And it's stuff to celebrate and feel really good about on a Monday morning, typically. But yeah, I mean, the mood of the locker room, which everyone is talking about and is being written about and discussed, the team was not celebrating after the game yesterday. And if you saw the interviews after it was over, they were not celebrating. They were not happy, which I understand. I mean, they came within one drop pass of losing to a 3-9 team. So nobody's going to feel good about that. What really matters is, okay, where are we now and where are we moving forward? Because if they play next Sunday the way they played yesterday, they're going to lose. I mean, they cannot go out next Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers and play the way they played yesterday and expect to win, because the Steelers are the good. I mean, the Steelers are I'd say one of the 5 best teams in the league for sure.
Wow, you think they're that high? Wow, that's a statement.
No, I think they're really good. I mean, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of statistics out there, but one of the things that I really think matters over the course of a season, especially when you're this deep into the season, is point differential. And it indicates, in addition to being 10-3, how dominant have you been? And the Steelers are a plus 85 at this point. So they're not just scraping by. I mean, they're winning games comfortably, and they're winning games comfortably for the reason that they're really good. And they're really good on the defensive side of the ball. And if you look at it honestly, they're a very good run defense. I mean, they're the number 4 run defense in the league. They're really good on third down. They're really, and the thing that they also are, they're really good at taking the ball away. They got 25 takeaways now, which I think is number 1 in the league. So this is not a team the Eagles are going to come out next week and run all over. I mean, this is not. I mean, Barkley will get his yards, but this is a team that's not just going to dominate on the ground. To win that game next week, you're going to have to throw the ball. You're going to have to make some big plays in the passing game, and that's the concern that comes out of this one for me. Is your passing game right now efficient enough, good enough to win a game against a good team that figures to slow down your running attack? And that all fall. And I don't know if A.J. Brown, after the game yesterday, was thinking ahead necessarily specifically to Pittsburgh, but what he was thinking about was the bigger challenges, certainly bigger challenges in the Carolina Panthers that lie ahead.
Yeah.
And if we need our passing game to win those games, is it going to be good enough? I think that's kind of what he was saying.
So Ray, that's what I want you to please guide Joe on here. It is more than just Jalen Hurts he's pointing the finger at there, correct?
Yes.
But would you say it's primarily Jalen?
I don't know how you break that down. I think.
Thank you.
I think the way people are taking it is, at least a lot of the people that I've heard, and just the general drift of conversation seems to be that people are taking this as AJ's unhappy about his role. AJ's unhappy about his catches,
well, clearly.
his production. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think what he was expressing there was an overall concern about where are we as a passing team. Where is our passing offense right now?
Sure.
Is it good enough? It's not just, I'm not getting my catches, I'm not getting my yards. I'm not getting my touchdowns. I mean, I didn't see it as a selfish, as a wide receiver, diva wide receiver pounding his chest saying, I want mine. I kind of took it that, right now we need to be better. We need to be better in this part of our offense if we really do hope to go on to the Super Bowl and win.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Joe,
Well, hold on a second. So, Ray, do you think Jalen got spooked by all the turnovers from last, whatever it was, November through early October? Do you? He's not pulling the trigger on open receivers often, and it's his 5th year. And it strikes me like he's so afraid of turning it over that now he's really got to see the guy open in order to pull the trigger. And listen, they might be able to win a Super Bowl this year because they keep winning. But it's, to me, a disappointment that in year 5, he's not better. What do you make of Jalen and how he's arrived at this point? Because I'll say this, Ray. He does wonderful things with his legs. He is a part of how they win. But, man, I think he is one of the weaker elements on the offense. What do you make of it?
Well, there's elements of truth in everything that you just said right there. But, you have to look at the bigger picture. He's doing the things to help you win games. Yesterday, he throws for 2 touchdowns, runs for another, but 3 touchdowns. That's what you like. That's what you need your quarterback to do. If you get right down to it, if you get right down to the barest bones of quarterback play, especially in the NFL, it comes down to 2 things. Does the guy score points, and does the guy win games? That's really what it comes down to. A lot of the metrics, a lot of the analytics stuff that breaks down quarterback efficiency ratings and everything really gets into a whole lot of other stuff, yards per attempt and all those kinds of things. And that's all fine. But when it comes right down to it, you ask 2 questions. Does he score points and does he win games? This guy does. So that's still true. Now, right now, I think what you're seeing is I think he, maybe more than anybody else in the offense, is trying to adjust to what is really a new offense. He never played in the backfield with a back like this before. He never played on a team with a back like this. A guy who's making you run at the all-time NFL rushing record. They knew that Barkley was going to change the offense. I don't think they had any idea he was going to change the offense the way he has.
Thank you, Ray.
In the middle of December, and
Ray.
we'd be talking about him running down Eric Dickerson.
Sure.
So
yes.
everything has kind of changed within the building now.
Ray, I want to be clear. That is important, and I want you to emphasize that when you're talking to Joe and those who believe like he does that the reason we run the ball is because Jalen is deficient.
It's half the reason.
He believes that.
No, Ray, here's where I'm at, and I think it's very clear. They run the ball a ton because Saquon and the offensive line are great at it, but also because Jalen is clearly far from great in the passing game. I think that's entirely obvious.
Well, no, I think, great in the passing game is, I don't know how you define that. I will say this. I really didn't have a lot of the questions that are being raised about Hurts prior to this game kind of had me scratching my head. I heard some of them coming. I heard some of them coming out of the Baltimore game. Oh, I don't know if he's good enough. And my point was, when he had to make throws in the Baltimore game, he made them.
Sure did.
The play in the 4th quarter, the 3rd down completion to Goddard, is a really big pass. It's a 2-point game. Midway through the 4th quarter, you're facing a 3rd and 7. You haven't been really good on 3rd down all day. You're going against a good defense, and they run the shallow cross to Goddard, and Hurts throws a perfect ball. And you get the 1st down, and then 2 plays later, Barkley's breaking a 26-yarder for the touchdown that puts the game away. That to me, that throw was more important than all the other stats you could throw at me during the game. Because in that spot, when you needed him to make the throw, he made the throw.
Yeah.
I couldn't say that yesterday. Yesterday he did not play well, and I'm not going to sit here and try and say that he did. And that to me is, I think that's kind of what's being addressed here. And if you look at the numbers, I can understand kind of where this is coming from. If you look at the passing yardage over the last 4 games, every week it's going down. Washington, 206 yards. Rams, 167 yards. Baltimore, 112 yards. Yesterday, 108 yards. And if you take out the sack yardage, it's 83 net. Okay, so every week for the last 4 weeks, the passing yardage has gone down. Not surprisingly, each of the last 4 weeks, A.J. Brown's numbers have gone down.
Sure,
okay?
of course.
So so you're talking about the cause and effect here, which is totally understandable. But I think now I don't know I don't know exactly what AJ was thinking and after the game when he was expressing his feelings. Some of it may just be, what about me? When am I going to get fed? It could have been there. Could there have been an element of selfishness in here? Maybe, but I took it the other way. I took it as, listen, as a team, we have to throw the ball better than we're throwing it right now. If we really do have hopes of going to a Super Bowl and winning it, and in that regard, I agree with them. I really do. Yesterday was not a good day for Jalen Hurts, and it's going to be absolutely on him to play a lot better next Sunday if they play Pittsburgh, because you're not going to win that game purely by running the football. The Steelers are going to make
Ray,
it
I'll
hard
just say
to
this.
do.
I agree with AJ also. I don't think he should have said it. That's the distinction I'm making about AJ, especially after last year. I don't think
he said passing.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I don't think in this town, this team should have opened that up. He should have opened that up. I thought it was unwise.
Passing.
Yeah. Well, here's the way I view that. Last year, we went through about the same time.
Yep.
We went through a similar thing with AJ. Open, obvious unhappiness, not talking to the press, sort of walling himself off, everybody wondering what he's really thinking. But you viewed that in the larger context. You viewed that at a time when your season was falling apart. Okay, your season was a great season was absolutely falling apart, and everybody was sharing concerns at that point. This is different because he's saying similar kinds of things and expressing similar kinds of emotions at a time when you're winning every week. Okay, so people are going to look at it this differently this week and maybe look at it in a more negative way. I'm looking at it as a guy who's been around a long time, knows the game, and knows that they can't play the way they played yesterday and expect to win a championship.
Yeah. I
thought that's what it was all about, and he's not wrong in saying that.
Sure, I think that's fair. But Ray, could you? I feel like I just want you to set Joe straight, and I keep trying to.
No one's going to set me straight because I know I'm right.
Why are people like Joe objecting to Jalen missing windows? Yesterday on Devontae's touchdown catch, A.J. Brown was open in the first window.
Wide open, and it's an easier pass.
Jalen passed it up, made an incredible throw, a much, much harder throw outside to Devontae. But everyone wants to say Jalen failed because that, I can't convey well enough how impossible it is for anyone to judge what a quarterback sees. I can't tell you how, with those monstrous bodies in front of this guy, what window he can see through, what he can't. I have no idea what he's been told to look at. I have no idea where his eyes are guided to start and end his progression. I know that it looked like he could have very easily thrown it to AJ. I don't understand why Joe and many people seem to be so objectionable to our quarterback missing open receivers.
I'll answer.
When it happens everywhere. When every quarterback, Patrick Mahomes is missing open receivers because you really can't tell where they're supposed to look or what they actually see.
I'll answer that. The reason I'm concerned about it is because the Eagles have a team that has a legitimate shot to win the Super Bowl, and I don't want Jalen missing that in a bigger game to cost them a Super Bowl. Period.
Of course, but it happens.
No, but it happens more. It happens more with him than most
with every
$250 million quarterbacks. It just does. Ray, let's move on to a few other topics.
Well, no, hold on, Ray. What? Does it happen with every quarterback?
That's not what I said. I acknowledge it happens with every quarterback. I said it happens more with him than other $250 million quarterbacks.
Does it happen more with him?
I think yesterday it certainly did. I wouldn't say, but I wouldn't say that overall. If you looked at his performance this year, that I would say that's an accurate statement. Yesterday, for sure. Yesterday, for sure. But you never know. See, the thing is, Joe, the quarterbacks don't necessarily see it when you see it. The play, the Devontae Smith touchdown is a good example of that. To me, the problem there was a problem that prevailed in the entire game, the way Jalen played it. One of the problems that it had me exasperated was he held the ball way too long. way too long on way too many occasions. And that was a play there that if the ball comes out of his hand when it should, it's going to A.J. Brown because he's wide open. Okay, now there's a safety sitting in the hole that the longer A.J. ran, that safety now comes into play. But if he gets rid of the ball probably on time to A.J., it's an easy touchdown. But now he's forced to make a width of the field throw to the corner of the end zone, a very tough throw, but he throws it perfect and he gets you the touchdown. Okay, but the problem, I thought the miss there was the ball didn't come out quickly enough, and it wasn't just on that play. I mean, there were plays that led to some sacks. There were plays that led to some throwaways.
Yeah.
There were some plays that largely, to me, were a matter of did he not see the field or was he just holding the ball too long? And those are all the things I think that frustrated everybody, and I think frustrated him when he used the word synchronization after the game.
Yep.
You know, what our problem is, our synchronization. What he's really talking about is timing. And yesterday the timing was way off, and nobody's going to argue with that.
All right, Ray, let's get to a couple other things quickly if we can. So, two-part Jake Elliott question. Number one, how concerned are you? Number two, is it time to try out new kickers? And let me frame it this way. If Elliott gets replaced, clearly they won't cut him. They would just deactivate him because he should be the guy next year, try to get him right. But how concerned are you with Jake, and how soon are you to start looking at other guys for the stretch run?
I'm concerned. I'm not going to pretend I'm not. I mean, right now he's struggling. You know, I mean, his confidence, and John knows this, or haven't been around the game as long as he is, that kickers are a different breed, and confidence is everything with those guys. And right now, this was a guy that had rock solid confidence for years for this team, and was absolutely money in the bank. It didn't matter where he was kicking from. I mean, 50 meant nothing to this guy for a long time. Now it's a problem. Am I concerned? Yeah, I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Would I bring another kicker in? I don't think I would do it.
In a week? No, I wouldn't either.
I have to.
No, I wouldn't do it yet, but Ray, I'll tell you, in a week or two, I might pull that lever. I'm close.
You can't sit around and wait for him to miss more kicks that might lose you a game.
Yeah, I can, because I don't know that guy who's the 33rd best guy is going to be better than him. If certainly if he gets right.
I'm not saying for the long run or
anything.
No,
I get it.
Now,
look,
his confidence is he. Do you think he wanted to kick that field goal yesterday?
I don't know.
I don't know either, and that's terrifying.
I mean, here's the thing, Ray. To me, it's a little bit like when the Phillies bullpen fell apart in the playoffs, when Kimbrel fell apart 2 years ago. Sometimes good pitchers or good players just fall apart.
And I'm not saying he's not a good kicker.
No, he is.
He's an amazing kicker.
He's their guy next year.
Right now,
I know.
Right now, he can't be our kicker if we can't trust him to make a kick that's 54 yards that would make it a two-score game.
Yeah.
That would put it out of reach.
Well, look, here's my mindset. I'm giving it another week or two, but I might change my mind closer to Christmas. All right, Ray. Tom,
I'll just say is I'm still riding with him. I've seen him make enough big kicks that I believe in him, and he's going through a rough patch right now. But I would stay with him. But definitely, listen, it influences everything on your team. Yep. I mean, every coaching decision. I mean, and you got Nick, who can be a little squirrely with in-game decisions anyway, and he was making some curious decisions about going for it on fourth down or not when Elliott was good. If you now have him thinking, you put that in Nick's head that now he doesn't really trust his kicker. I mean, there's all kinds of issues that could come into it, and I know that's a concern, and I share that concern.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't make the change yet.
All right, Ray. Two final things. Tommy and me. It's happening. Tell us where people can get tickets.
They can get tickets. The Tommy and Me is coming back to People's Light Theater out in Malvern. Beautiful theater. I hope you can come out and see it. We open on January the 7th, and we run through January 26th, pretty much the whole month. And it'll be the whole Tommy and Me play with the original cast, everybody coming back. And come into a beautiful theater, and I hope everybody can come out and see it.
Nice.
Tickets are selling, so if you want to get in now, go online and order your tickets, and we'll love to see you out at the theater in January.
And Ray, final thing. I don't know the answer to this question. Do you think Juan Soto can afford a ticket to Tommy and Me? All right, Ray, let me ask you this question. You're in your 70s. You have lived to see the day that an American athlete, a player here in America, gets $765 million guaranteed. one contract, $765 million guaranteed. For those of you just waking up to it, Juan Soto signed last night with the Mets. Ray, what is your reaction to a player getting $765 million guaranteed?
There is a time in my life when I would have said that that's absurd, but there was a time in my life when I said, you'll never see a man walk on the moon. Things change,
sure.
And that's when you have a team like the Mets that's owned by a guy like Steve Cohen that's got all the money in the world. Those kinds of things can happen. Is it absurd? Absolutely, it's absurd. But that's the nature of sports today. But I will tell you, to me, the bigger baseball story today in this town is Dick Allen going to Cooperstown.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Go ahead.
Oh, I am so happy. I am so happy and so elated that that's finally happening. Because listen, I was a kid of that generation.
Sure.
I mean, I grew up going to Connie Mack Stadium and watching Dick Allen. I grew up going to Connie Mack Stadium and watching him hit balls over the left field stands. He was one of the most exciting baseball players I have ever seen, and a truly great player. And it was painful to me for all of these years that he never got his due, that he never got the call to Cooperstown. And now it happens, and I feel wonderful for his family. I feel wonderful for his fans and all the people that wanted this to happen. But it makes me so sad that he isn't here to enjoy it. All you need to know about Dick Allen, how great this guy was, and I know a lot of people didn't get to see him, and you only know what you heard, and some of it was the off-the-field stuff, which really doesn't matter, in my view. In the years from 1964 through 1974, in the peak of his career, he had an OPS that was second only to Hank Aaron.
Wow!
Over a 10-year period, over a full decade, when there was real pitching in baseball. Okay, only one player in the major leagues had a higher OPS than Dick Allen, and that was the great Hank Aaron. And this was a guy who was considered a power hitter, but still had a career batting average of 292. Was almost a 300 hitter with all the power stats to go along with it. A great player, the most exciting baseball player in terms of just generating excitement with a bat in his hands of anybody I've seen in this town. And I'm delighted that he's finally going to get a chance to go to Cooperstown. I only wish he was here to enjoy it.
Well said, Ray. Ray, have a great week. We look forward to talking to you next week. Thank you, Ray.
All right, take care, Joe. See you.
Thanks,
All right, there he is, the Diddy. All right, 215-592-9494. So an awful lot to react to with the Eagles.